All right, so now we are going to be doing dividing exponents. So I have a problem over here, so we're going to be working this out. So now we see the big division. So that is a fraction, but it's also division. So we're going to be dividing. So you're going to be simplifying here with division. First step is to divide your coefficients. Also, it could be, this is also like simplifying the fraction, because it really is a fraction. So in this case, it would be the 16 and 4. 16 divided by 4 is 4. So 16 divided by 4 is 4. A lot of times I do, right, 16 divided by 4 is 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. So right now I have a 4 in the numerator and a 1 in the denominator. We then are going to be using, with division, what I typically do is we're going to look at our x's divided by x's. So x to the 4th divided by x to the 7th. And the easiest thing to do to start out with this is write them out. X to the 4th means x times x times x. X to the 7th, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know why I for some reason I like this. Always have. X divided by x, simplify out. Just keep on crossing them out until you get what's left. And what's left is there's 3x in the denominator, so it's x cubed. So going up to our fraction here, we have an x cubed left. Then we are going to be continuing with our y's. So y to the 3rd over y. So you have y times y times y in the numerator and a y in the denominator. Cross them out. What do you have left? You have a y squared in the numerator, so times y squared. And then the last one, we have z's. Seems to run out of room here. So I have z to the 6th. That's not a z, Mr. Johnson. Z to the 6th over z to the 3rd. So z 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over 3 of them. Multiply together. Simplify, simplify, simplify. And what's left is z to the 3rd in the numerator. So we're going to have a z to the 3rd in the numerator left. Let's do a little simplifying here. So we have 4y squared z to the 3rd. The only thing you really can simplify is this denominator. 1 times x to the 3rd is just x to the 3rd. There's your final answer. So I kind of stopped with my rules or the steps here. So we want to write out the variables. With exponents. We want to simplify the variables. Cross them out. And then write the answer. So the actual rule here is, let's take a look at this. I'm going to look at one in particular. Y to the 4th and or x to the 4th and x to the 7th. Well, the final answer is y to the 3rd, or x to the 3rd in the denominator. So what happens? Really all you're doing is you're taking your exponents of your like basis and you are subtracting them. So I take 7 minus 4 is 3 and just put the exponent in the denominator where the biggest exponent was in the first place. So 7's the biggest, so 7 minus 4, so x to the 3rd is going to be left in the denominator. Where here we had y to the 3rd over y to the 1st. You're going to do 3 minus 1 is 2, and because the 3 is in the numerator, you're going to have y to the y squared in the numerator. So your rule is subtract exponents when dividing. when dividing like bases. So like bases meaning like the x's are the same or the y's are the same. All right, so let's take a look at this rule here. So you have like bases, you have division, so you're going to subtract the exponents. Take your biggest exponent and subtract your smaller. So 5 minus 3 is 2. So you have x squared in the numerator. Well, there is no denominator. It's all gone, so that's your final answer. Next, well, here we have coefficients 7 over 21. We can reduce that fraction. Think about it, 7/21. Reduce that fraction from like 5th grade. We can divide the numerator and denominator by 7. It gives you 1 over 3. So that's where I'm going to start. 1 over 3. Let me erase this a little bit. Then we have y to the 7th and y to the 9th. So I'm going to start with y to the 9th. So I'm going to take the 9 minus 7 is 2, and because the 9 was in the denominator, I'm going to keep the y in the denominator. And there's nothing I can simplify here, and that'd be your final answer. All right, 16/18. What can we divide 16/18 by? 2. We can divide it by 2. So if we divide by 2, you get 8. 18 divided by 2, you get 9. 8/9. Can I reduce that? No. So I'm going to start off with 8 over 9. You can't divide the 8 and the 9 by something. Not 2, not 3, nope. Looking at other like terms, we have x to the 9th, x to the 3rd. So I have 9x in the numerator, 3 in the denominator. And we're left with 6 in the numerator, so 9 minus 3 is 6. Y squared, there's no y's in the numerator, so that just stays in the denominator. There's your final answer. And the last problem, whoa. This is going to combine both things we just did. First I would do for this problem is multiply. So you're going to multiply the whole numerator. So you have multiplying fractions. What you do is you multiply the numerators. So how we multiply these out, we multiply the 5 times 6 is 30. X to the 5th times x to the 3rd is x to the 8th. Like bases, you add exponents with multiplication. We have y to the 3rd times y to the 7th is y, add exponents, so 3 plus 7 is 10. That's the numerator. Now we got to do the same thing with the denominator. Multiply it out. Multiply your coefficients. 10 times 3 is 30. X squared times x to the 6th is x to the 8th. Y to the 8th times y squared, 8 plus 2 is 10, so it's y to the 10th. Now what happens? Whoa. We have 30 divided by 30 is 1. 8x to the 8th divided by x to the 8th is 1. Y to the 10th divided by y to the 10th is 1. We got a lot of 1s. So you have 1 divided by 1 is all this is multiplied. You multiply across the numerator, you get 1. Multiply across the denominator, you get 1. And 1 divided by 1 is 1. All that is down to 1. All right. Hopefully this makes sense. Come to class with any questions. Thanks for watching.